mix my soul with the napalm.
In this video, we will be talking about a lot of the news and a lot of the things that will be happening for Tekken. To start with this, we have the tweet here from Harada, where he is responding to someone who says, please, every time I'm going to ask this, but please fix text-to-speech feature for blind people in Tekken 8. Blind lives matter too. Okay, Harada responds to this and says, we're still working with several Japanese associations, organizations, and hospitals to come up with ideas for accessibility features. Some features may be reflected in future updates. We will also like to improve accessibility features that are currently in place. Now, when this person says text to speech, there was this idea in the past that would, for the throw system, you have to press 1 or 2 or 1+2. There was an idea for accessibility people to have the game tell you which arm is coming at you. 1, 2, 1+2, or maybe it just says 3, and then you press that button to break it. Throws are my kryptonite. If they add that into the game, I will implement it. But also, at the time when that conversation was happening, a lot of people were pushing back against it because they felt like that's cheating to have the game tell you what throw to break, and then it would kind of like diminish the whole system. There is a balance, especially in a competitive game, between accessibility features and not consuming the normal gameplay. Harada was tagged in his tweet, but the only part that is relevant to what we're talking about now is at the bottom where he says, also staying hopeful for Bob DLC. We need the big guy back. Harada says, will Bob make America great again? Now, obviously, some people was upset at the Trump reference, but ignoring that and talking about Bob specifically, it's interesting because his data was just found in the game, through Raven and the Ana glitch, and this kind of ignited the conversation of whether or not he would be in the game. If you talk about the Tekken New York stage, there's a lot of characters who was referenced in that stage, from Ana, Lydia, Leroy, and Bob as well. All of the other characters are now in the game, and the only one who hasn't been added yet is Bob. With the blue silhouette, I just wonder, who will it be? It's a weird thing about Bob. He is a cool character, but when you just talk about how competitive the roster is, people would much rather get a Bruce, a Miguel, a Armor King, and I totally get it. We will see what the developers deliver at EVO Japan. We'll talk more about that in a second, but first let's talk about what's coming before, and that's future adjustments. So they did the update version like 0.3 or whatever. It was a very small update. They changed one thing, but at the same time, they talked about what they have planned next. It says the next update, version 2.01, is scheduled to be distributed in mid-May. 2.01 will include several balance adjustments. The main content as follows: aerial combos damage will be mitigated, and then revision of performance of heat burst, etc. This is the main contents, but there will also be other things in there as well. And if you just talk about how wild the game is and how many things people are talking about, like Lars is a big discussion right now. People are really breathing down the Lars. I'm so happy as a Yoshi main for Yoshi to finally not be the strongest character in the game, and I could just sit back, the Lars mains being attacked for something that's out of their control. I could just breathe a sigh of relief. But with the whole Lars situation going on, people really hate that guy. And I wonder if the developers will take action, or if they will just let him do his thing like they let Dragunov, Jan, and Yoshi, and etc. But the aerial combo damage coming down, and then the heat burst change, those two things are also very problematic. Every character can do season 1 Yoshi combos with the same damage output, if not more. So I would like to see them fix that, address that, and then maybe you can find some type of balance with the game. They also need to fix a lot of the plus on block and the loop and strings, but we'll see if that's done in this update or a future update. They also say after mid-May update, we will continue working on improving the performance of each character and situations where one-sided game tends to occur on users' opinions and feedback. So this is kind of what I was just referring to about all of the endless pressure. I was playing Tekken 8, I try to give the game a shot like once a week, and every time I play, each character is doing the same thing, whether it be a Kuma, a Raven, a King, a Asuzina, a Reina. All of the characters are just doing plus frames into infinite loops, and they just chip you down, and you really just have to guess, and then you eventually die because you're tired of guessing. I didn't get opened up. I just got tired of blocking. Tekken 8 Season 2 got everyone sounding like low tier god. It's crazy. Also, on the topic of character individuality, you have this tweet here from Nee. This whole conversation was sparked because there was like some Brian Fury discussions happening. I know Brian Fury is a character who's considered somewhat powerful. And then someone says, I have mad respect for Nee, but saying no problem on tool for a character that should not have a full crouch mix is a weird take. Neither Dragunov should have access to that. It doesn't make it okay because the character has it. This is why characters have identity issues. No one says enough. And then Nee says, thanks, but I say there's no identity in the game right now. All characters have similar moves. Now this bleeds into another conversation that was happening on Twitter, and this is kind of a whole nother problem, but this is what season 2 is. It's problems everywhere, and a lot of these intertwine in weird ways. Mixbox was showing off a Yoshimitsu like combo type of thing, but then they deleted it because they were fearing that the developers would see that and then nerf it out of the game. This is something that people also are very afraid of. It's like character specific things or cool tips and tricks and whatever are getting patched out. If the Korean backdash was discovered in the era of Tekken 8 Season 2, the developers would see that as a true bug, a true glitch, and they would nerf it out. The tweet here says, Namco takes away legacy mechanics by looking at Tekken 8 report hashtag in the blink of an eye. As much as I like to share combos and mechanics with the community, I grew tired of this. People have limited game knowledge, just T8 report it, and Namco removes it without a second thought. Now this spins into another conversation here, and this kind of loops back to what Nee was saying, but IMOP says, please stop removing situational combos from the game. These are really fun to learn for any character. If someone is tagging it under report and Twitter doesn't mean you should consider that an issue and remove it. Only modify it if it kills an opponent in one interaction. All of these conversations is basically taking place because players feel like the developers are removing things that's character specific, but also they're adding things to take away character individuality. But then when you talk about setups, those things are being attacked as well. So many unique setups from Law to Fang, you can name it, it's being removed with Tekken 8. And that's another problem that players are trying to highlight. It's not just super powerful mids, it's not just high damage output, but it's also the characters' identities themselves that's under serious attack. Lastly, the final thing I'll say about Nee is this tweet here. He says God rank matches should be rematches with a random stage option included and requiring deathmatch. Matching takes a long time and there aren't many players. If someone is abusing rank, we can report their accounts. I do like the idea of death matching at the very, very, very top, but then I also like the idea of the random stage option. This is something that they implemented in a tournament as a rule. This is something that they implemented in a tournament feature in the game, but they did not implement in quick match, rank match, or even in the group match section. Every time you hit rematch, the game should automatically randomize a new stage, and then boom, there you go. You have two paths to the finals. It's the global and regionals. This is exactly what they did last year. But then you also have this new section where they show all of the different countries that are able to compete. If you're thinking about going to the tournaments, pause and look at this. And then they also have the master tier events, which is this time around 3 EVOs: Japan, Vegas, and France. And players are now wondering if we will get a reveal at France. But usually they save the last reveal for last year. It was Game Awards. The year before that, they did it at the finals. But now with this new EVO, and also there's going to be more EVOs that's thrown into the equation, you have to wonder how many reveals can they spread evenly across all of them, or will some EVOs just be ignored and there will be no reveal? Only time will tell. But then you also have a look at the master events. These ones aren't completely irrelevant though, because the developers were teasing a type of reveal at Combo Breaker. They didn't say too much about it, but they were just hyping up the fact that something could happen. And then on the other side of esports, you have the Esports World Cup, where the Tekken 8 tournament will be held there and will be taking place on week 6. This is where the prize pool is totaling to $1 million. Last year, Ulsan won. He defeated Atif and Arslan Ash in mind-blowing fashion. This tournament was fire. It's going to be happening again on August 13th to the 16th, and there's 32 players participating. The final thing that I want to talk about, and this has nothing to do with Tekken, which is why I saved it to the end, but 2KXO is a game that a lot of people are hyped for, but we got some bad news about the game. This game has decided to lock all of its characters away, and when you start off the game you will only have access to what I believe is one character. Now this was so dumb, and it reminds me of what happened to Multiverses. Multiverses was even more generous, where they gave you one character but then they gave you 4 characters that rotated, and everyone even hated that. I don't get why these free-to-play fighting games are making these decisions. We see Marvel's Rivals, a free-to-play game that gives the whole roster of characters for free, but then also it gives the DLC characters for free. 2KXO was a game that I was looking forward to, and I'm still kind of looking forward to it, but knowing that you start off with one character and then you have to somehow unlock the others, it's not good, bro. This game has a lot of potential and I would love for it to succeed, but doing something like this is very dumb in my opinion.